Hello everybody. I have a short session on pelvic floor for you today. Lovely and gentle. Talk a little about how to activate the pelvic floor and then a few exercises that you can do at home that will help strengthen and release your pelvic floor. So how to activate your pelvic floor. There's lots of different ways. I'll show you two and you can choose which one you like best. So if you come to a seated position, cross-legged if it's comfortable, or anything close to that if not, and you imagine yourself sitting on a tissue, and then if you think of your tummy like a long line with a grabber claw, you're going to bring the tissue and scoop it and draw it up towards your tummy button, and then release it and let it float back down. So as you exhale, scoop the tissue, draw it up towards your tummy button. So it's a lift. And as you inhale, just let it float back down. The release is just as important as the drawing up. So it's exhale to lift. Inhale to let it float back down. So it's very internal. You're trying not to let your inner thighs and your glutes get involved, so your bum cheeks or your inner thighs. So you're trying to activate your internal muscles and draw upwards. That's one way. A different way to activate the same muscles is imagining a blueberry in between your bum cheeks, as you do. And then we're going to gently squish the blueberry and then zip under and all the way up to the tummy button. And then release. So it's an exhale to squish and zip all the way up the front. So you've still got that lifting action, but this will activate all the muscles across your pelvic floor, which is essentially like a hammock. Go for two more with that one. So it's an exhale to squish the blueberry, zip all the way up and release. An exhale to squish and zip all the way up and release. So both lifting, both internal, both trying not to get your inner thighs and your bum cheeks involved. So we'll have a little warm up just so we've got all our postural muscles warm and active, because that does affect your pelvic floor. I won't go into it now, but it does. So we'll have a little roll the shoulders, just send them forward, up to your ears, slide them down, under. Save all of that for another day. So nice big shoulder rolls one way, and then we'll change direction and go the other way. Beautiful. Bring your hands onto your knees. Going to sit up lovely and tall. And as you exhale, just bring your chin to your chest, gaze into your tummy button, and we're just rounding in. And then as you inhale, we're going to uncurl and lengthen, like you've got a little suction cup on the top of your head. And then gaze up, send your heart forward. And exhale, chin to chest, gaze into your tummy button, rounding in. Inhale to uncurl, heart forward, gaze up. So just go for a few with your own breath pattern. We're just waking the spine up, getting it moving. And one more here. Just settle back at centre. If you've got a cushion or a Pilates ball or anything squishy, bring that. If not, you can just go palm to palm, completely fine. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, we're just going to twist to one side. So you're keeping your gaze over the ball or over your fingertips. Inhale back to centre. And exhale over to the other side. Inhale back to centre. Just go for a few each side, keeping that length through the spine, keeping your hip bones with the mat. So sitting lovely and tall. Last one. And then back to centre. Beautiful. So we're going to take our spine off to the side. So you can do this without a ball, just by having your hand on the mat, or you can have a ball or a cushion at the side. So we're going to take the other hand, reach it up, and it's like you're going for a big beach ball. Take an exhale as you reach up and over. Have a little side bend, just a baby one to start you off. Inhale up to the top. And exhale to take you off to the side. Inhale up. So you're still keeping your hip bones with the mat, reaching your fingers away. Go for 2 more. All in your breath pattern in your own time. Excellent. So we're going to try it on the other side. So we're going to pop the ball or the cushion or just your hand on the mat, reach your other hand up, take a deep breath in, exhale for a little baby one to start you off. Inhale up. And exhale to reach over. So you're thinking about your hip bones staying with the mat, your fingertips reaching away, up and over. Go for 2 more in your own breath pattern, in your own time. Last one. Excellent. Have a little wriggle. So we're going to have a little bit of internal, external rotation in the hip joint. So if you take your feet out in front, and it's like you've dug your heels into the sand, just bring your hands back behind you. Lovely tall spine. And we get a little bit of movement into the hips by swaying the knees left and right. So your heels are staying with the floor, your hip bones, your sit bones staying with the mat. And if this feels good, you can take the heels a little wider, make that rotation a little bit bigger. So you've got this internal rotation, external rotation in your hips. You're trying to keep the trunk of your body as still as you can. This is great for pelvic floor because it gets all your hip rotator muscles involved, which are essentially part of your pelvic floor. They work very closely with it. One more each way. So we're nice and loosened up, ready. Beautiful. Settle yourself in the middle. So if you've got a ball or a cushion or a rolled up jumper, anything like that, just something to squeeze, I'm going to pop it in between the knees. Take your hands out behind you, whatever's comfortable for you. But we want that lovely long, tall spine. Try not to dump down into it if you can. And we're going to take the feet a little bit further away. So you're leaning away with a long spine, knees bent in front. We're going to take a nice deep breath in, and as you exhale, I'm going to scoop up the pelvic floor, draw it up to your tummy button, draw the tummy button in slightly, give the ball a squeeze, and then inhale, release. So it's an exhale, pelvic floor, scoop the tummy button in as you squeeze the ball. Inhale, release. Exhale, pelvic floor, scoop the tummy button in, squeeze the ball. Inhale, release. So just go with your own breath pattern in your own time. If you can't get the breath, just think about scooping up your pelvic floor, squeezing the ball, because your inner thighs are essentially part of your pelvic floor. They too work very closely with it. They connect into the same points as your pelvic floor muscles. So it just gets that little bit of extra fun for your pelvic floor muscles. It's an exhale, pelvic floor, scoop the tummy button in as you squeeze, and then release. Go for 2 more with your own breath pattern. Last one. And then release. Beautiful. Bring yourself down to the mat with control in your own time, keeping the ball between the knees for a second. You want a lovely long spine, long neck. So I'm going to try some pelvic tilt. So this is just tilting the hip bones. Don't worry if you get the breath wrong. Try and come back to it when you can. So it's a nice deep breath in. Exhale to scoop the pelvic floor up. Draw your tummy button down. And we're just going to tilt the pelvis so your tailbone's nice and high. Let me move my jumper out of the way so you can see. So it's an exhale, pelvic floor, scoop the tummy button down and tilt the pelvis. And then inhale, you're going to tilt away and have that little arch in your low back. And exhale, pelvic floor scoops up, tummy button draws down to tilt. Inhale to tilt away. So your back staying with the floor, it's just your hip bones tilting one way and then the other. You can relax the arms. It's really nice for your low back as well. If you get low back niggles, this is quite a nice one. You can do it before you can get out of bed. If you're feeling good and you want a little extra for your pelvic floor, as you exhale, pelvic floor scoops up, tummy button draws down, tilt, squeeze the ball. Release it as you tilt away. Inhale. Exhale, pelvic floor, scoop the tummy button down as you tilt, squeeze the ball. Inhale to release. So it's an exhale, tilt and squeeze. Inhale, release. Just take a few more in your own time with your breath pattern. Excellent pelvic floor exercise. This you can do it before you get out of bed in the morning and have a lovely, happy low back too. Last one. And then just settle yourself in the centre. So for this one, we're going to take the ball out, or the cushion, whatever you're using, and we're looking for pelvic stability. So if you imagine yourself a cup of tea full to the brim, balanced on your right knee. So we're going to keep that leg really still, keep the cup of tea really still, and the other leg, we're just going to let it drop out to the side to the point that you comfortably can. Keep your cup of tea as still as you can as you draw that leg back in. And staying on the same side, let the leg drop out, keep your cup of tea as still as you can. Inhale back in. So you're trying to get your hips balanced, your pelvic floor and your inner thighs are working to stabilise everything and keep this leg as still as we can. Go for two more. Inhale back in and exhale out. Inhale back in. Beautiful. Then try it on the other side. Put your cup of tea on top of your left knee, full to the brim, boiling hot. You can't spill a drop. Take a deep breath in and then exhale. Pelvic floor scoops up, tummy button draws down. Stabilise everything as you take this knee out. Inhale to bring it back in. So this knee, trying to keep it as still as you possibly can. Inhale in. Exhale out. How much tea have you spilt? Got two more. Keep it still as you can. And last one. And settle back at centre. Excellent. Have a little wriggle. And we'll have a little go at the clamp. So if you turn yourself onto your side, you can have a choice of arm position. You can have a long arm, make yourself a little pillow, or prop yourself up. Any of those are fine. We want the hips nice and stacked, one on top of the other, and the legs bent in so your heel, your bottom and your head are roughly in line. But the hips being stacked is the most important thing. I like to put my fingertips on my hip bones so I can see what they're doing. So we're going to keep the bottom leg where it is. The top leg, we're going to open out, keep the toes glued together into a little clam. And then we're going to close the clam. Keep the knees glued together, and we're going to open out the ankles into reverse clam. Close that. Glue the toes together. Open out the knees. And close the knees. Open out the ankles. So it's lovely and steady. We're after that full rotation, but without letting your hips roll out. We're trying to keep the hips in exactly the same place so that all the movement's coming from your hip rotator muscles around your hip joint, connecting into your pelvic floor. So if these muscles are nice and strong and happy, your pelvic floor can work properly. And that's happy too. Go one more each way on this side. This is also great for your hip joint as a Brucey bonus. And settle down at centre, get a little pat. Well done, hip. And we'll try it on the other side. So just going to switch to the side, choose your arm position. It can be long, pillow, or propped up. Make sure you're nice in line with your heels, your bottom, and your head. Hips are nice and stacked. You can pop your fingertips on. So we're going to glue the toes together, and as you exhale, it's going to take the knees wide. Keep your hips where they are. Bring the knees back together. Glue the knees together, take the ankles wide. Bring the ankles back together, take the knees wide. So after this, internal, external rotation in your hip. Try not to let your hip dip back. Try and keep your hip bones exactly where they are. Go one more each way. Well done. And settle at centre. Give it a little well done pat. And we're going to bring ourselves up onto 4-point kneel. So if your wrists don't like this, you can come up onto fists. You can also do it on forearms. See how you get on, but it's good for weight bearing in your arms. So see how long you can be happy on your wrists. So you want the heel of your hand roughly underneath your shoulder, knees roughly underneath your hips. Just rock the weight back slightly so it's more into your knees and your tops of your feet than your wrists. Lovely long spine. We'll have a nice cat-cow. So a deep breath in, exhale, pelvic floor, scoop your tummy button up, and we're going to curl under, forehead towards your tailbone, push the ground away. Inhale to uncurl, make your spine as long as you can, and then have that glance up, tailbone reaching up towards the sky. And exhale, pelvic floor scoops up, tummy button draws up towards your spine as you curl under. Inhale to uncurl. So it's as slow as you want it. You're taking your spine from a flex position to a lovely long spread out position and then into extension. So you've got these three distinct shapes. This is also great for your spinal mobility, but it also works your pelvic floor and your postural muscles, which make a big difference to your pelvic floor. One more each way. And then settle ourselves back at centre, back at 4-point kneel. So while we're here, we'll get another little bit of internal, external rotation into our hips. So you can do this without the ball. You can do it with a cushion, anything like that. If I go at this angle, you'll probably see better what I'm on about. So I'm going to pop the ball in between the knees, still in 4-point kneel. So your right knee, float it off the ground by a millimetre, slight tiny little bit. And then I'm going to take this leg and just move the ankle out to one side. So you've got this bit of rotation into your hip joint. Inhale back in. Just exhale out. Inhale in. So you've got the added benefit of a bit of weight bearing through the arms. You've got a lovely tall, long spine. But what we're really after is this rotation in your hip joint. I'm going to go for 2 more. Last one. Beautiful. Have a little wriggle. We'll try it on the other side. So the left knee this time, just float it just by a whisker off the mat. And then take the ankle out to one side. Bring it back in. I'll try it at different angles so you can see. Take it out at an angle. Bring it back in. So wanting that rotation through the hip joint. But one at this angle as well so you can see. Last one. Give your wrists a little wriggle, loosen them off. And then one of my favourites, the glute bridge. So lots of different ways to do this, but this one really activates your pelvic floor and you get the added bonus of lots of spine mobility. It's nice for your spine, feels good. So got nice long spine, long neck. Pop a ball or a cushion between your knees, but that's not essential. You can do it without. So settle yourself in, take a nice deep breath in, exhale, pelvic floor scoops up, tummy button draws down, and we're going to tilt the pelvis just like we did in the pelvic tilts, but then we're going to continue that movement. So we're going to float the spine away from the mat, bone by bone, up into a glute bridge. So you're looking for length from your armpit all the way through to your knees, all the way through your heels, nice long neck. Give the ball a gentle squeeze. Take a deep breath in and then exhale, pelvic floor scoops up, draw your tummy button down, going to tilt the pelvis and bring the spine back down to the mat, bone by bone, all the way through. Back to your tailbone. And then we'll go again. Nice deep breath in, exhale, pelvic floor scoops up, tummy button draws down, we tilt the pelvis, tailbone's high, give the ball a gentle squeeze and bring yourself up bone by bone. Keep a nice long neck all the way through your heels. Your glute muscles are lifting you up. Squeeze the ball gently. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, pelvic floor scoops up. Draw your tummy button down. Keep the tailbone nice and high. Bringing yourself back down, bone by bone. Tailbone's the first bone to leave and the last one to come back down. I'm going to go for one more. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, pelvic floor scoops up, tummy button draws down, tilt the pelvis, the tailbone's high, peeling off one bone at a time. Gentle squeeze on the ball. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, pelvic floor scoops up, tummy button draws down, tilt the pelvis, the tailbone stays high, bone by bone. See if you can move every single joint on the way back down. Beautiful. And settle back at centre. So after that, a nice little stretch is a happy baby. Really good for releasing your pelvic floor as well. So options for happy baby. We can take our legs behind the knees and thinking about drawing your knees into your armpits. So you're getting this nice deep stretch on your low back and it's brilliant for releasing your pelvic floor. If that feels good, maybe you can take the outside of your feet or the inside of your feet or maybe your toes, whichever's more comfortable for you, and just let your knees drop down towards your armpits. It's not elegant, but it's very good at releasing your low back and your pelvic floor. And you can just stay here and relax, or you can have a little rock. Make sure you're still breathing because you are squished up a little bit. So make sure the air's still moving. And you can stay here as long as you like. I'd say minimum of a minute, roughly, to get any benefit. But as long as you like, really. As long as it feels good. And then when you've had enough, just release your fingers. Bring your knees in for a little cuddle. And then release off. So a nice glute stretch, which connects into the same points as your pelvic floor, helps your pelvic floor work well. So if you cross your, well, let's go for any ankle, over the other knee, and you're going to have a little sway there, and that might be enough. Or maybe you just tease that knee away a little bit for more hip opener if it feels nice. And if you want to get into the glute stretch a little more, draw this leg closer. So you can take your fingertips around the back of the thigh and draw it in. So you're after a stretch on the front leg that's closest to you. And just take some deep breaths. You can have little ankle circles if it feels nice. You can have a little rock. You can try and do both if your brain will let you. And then settle back at centre, release your fingers, and we'll try it on the other side. So take the other ankle over the other knee, and you can have a little sway. That might be enough. Maybe tease that knee for a bit more hip opener, you can just press it away gently. If you want a deeper stretch, just float the leg away from the floor, draw it in to the point that you feel the stretch on this leg. If you want more, you can draw your hands around that thigh, draw your knee towards your nose. Just like before, you can have little ankle circles. You can have a little sway. You can try and do both. Good for your brain. And just settle back at centre, release the hands, bring your feet down to the mat and just have a little wriggle. Catch your breath. And we're going to just bring the hands underneath the knees and just roll yourself up or come up to sitting any way you like best. If you find that nice tall spine, nice long neck, give yourself a couple of shoulder rolls. Just let your shoulders settle back and down. And we're going to let the arms be nice and heavy. Take a deep breath in and send the fingertips overhead. And breathe it all out. Another lovely deep breath right down to the bottom of your tailbone. And let it all go. And last one. Deep breath right down to your tailbone. Reach your fingertips overhead. And let it all go. Well done, everybody. And let me know how you get on when I see you next. Bye.